What's going on, Overemployment Army? Today we're going to be talking about a very special video on why overemployment will explode in 2026 and how to be ready for it. So before we jump into the video, if you guys want to schedule a one-on-one call with me where I answer any questions you may have regarding overemployment based on your specific situation, book a one-on-one call with me with the pinned comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. But yeah, let's jump into the video here. So with AI eating jobs and layoffs hitting every week, one strategy is exploding behind the scenes. You guessed it, overemployment. So 2026, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest year for it. And let me show you why and how to prepare before it is too late. So you guys have to understand that the current job market pressure is building. So look around, mass layoffs have become the new normal. It seems like every other week there's a headline about another company cutting thousands of jobs. In 2023 alone, tech companies slashed over 150,000 positions. And it wasn't just in tech, finance, retail, you name it. If you survived a layoff, you're probably doing the work of two people anyways, and praying you're not next. We've entered what Business Insider calls an age of office paranoia. A single vague email from your boss can spike your anxiety. Is another layoff coming? Will AI replace part of your team next quarter? That fear is real, but so is the opportunity hiding inside of it. And what is that opportunity? At the same time, something huge changed in how we work. Remote work went from a quirky perk to totally normal. So back in 2019, hardly anyone worked from home. Now it's mainstream. In fact, remote job openings have tripled since 2020, from about 4% of jobs to over 15% today. Tens of millions of people are working from home, dialing into meetings in sweatpants, proving that you don't really need to be in office to get things done. Companies got comfortable with distributed teams, and they're even hiring globally, squeezing salaries and expecting more output with fewer people. In short, you're expendable, and you know it. So this isn't really about greed, it's about survival. Workers are realizing that depending on one job is like putting all your eggs in one basket. Just like you diversify an investment portfolio, people are diversifying their income streams. So the smartest employees today, I know, are hedging against uncertainty by quietly lining up a second paycheck. Overemployment is turning into the ultimate career hedge against layoffs, AI, and economic craziness. So now let's kind of jump into the rise of overemployment and what it really means, right? So overemployment involves working two or more full-time remote jobs simultaneously without employer awareness, increasing income significantly. That's basically the short definition of what overemployment is. So instead of one 9 to 5, you have two 9 to 5s. And you're essentially stacking jobs to double your income. So yeah, real people are obviously doing this. One millennial client that I have was pulling in $280,000 a year by secretly working two remote jobs. Another person I know, I think he's working about 5 jobs and making over half a million. I think it was like closer to $700,000. The point here is a growing number of workers have cracked the code on how to legally collect 2 paychecks without burning out or getting caught. So now, which jobs work best for overemployment? So generally, roles in the knowledge economy with remote-friendly asynchronous work. So think software developers, data analysts, project managers, writers, QA engineers, and graphic designers. So these jobs often care more about your output than when you do it. So if you can meet your deadlines and hop on a reasonable number of meetings, you can kind of fly under the radar here. The secret is finding roles that don't really chain you to a specific schedule every single day. For instance, 2 coding jobs where each thinks you're online roughly 9 to 5, but in reality, you're merging the work together and using calendar blocking. It's like being in 2 places at once. So this is kind of what I recommend here. So if you get a meeting from job 1, you're going to block that immediately in your job 2 calendar. And there's many ways to kind of stay under the radar. And this is like one of the main important aspects of it is meeting management. So let's kind of talk about why I believe 2026 would be the explosion point for overemployment. A bunch of trends are kind of converging, and together they're like gasoline on fire, essentially. So first of all, AI, right? So AI as your personal assistant. By 2026, AI tools will be even more advanced and backed into our everyday work. So look at how tools like ChatGPT blew up in 2023, 2024, and even 2025. People are already using AI to draft emails, write code, crunch reports in minutes, and as AI gets better, one person can handle a lot more work in the same 8 hours. That means juggling two jobs becomes easier because you can kind of offload the grunt work to your AI coworker. So instead of working 16 hours to do two jobs, maybe you still only need 8 or 9 totals because AI is doing 30% of the work at each job. It sounds crazy, but it's happening. In 2026, having an AI sidekick might be the new normal. And overemployed workers will use AI like a secret power they have to stay efficient and undetected. Next point here, so more companies equals more flexibility. Every year, more companies adopt remote-friendly policies and flexible hours. By 2026, fully remote or hybrid is going to be standard for a huge chunk of jobs, despite some CEOs whining about return to office. We're seeing a generation of managers who only care about results, not punching the clock and getting pissed off when you're not coming into office. Global teams are working across different time zones, forcing companies to be asynchronous friendly. So when your team is spread from California to Europe to Asia, you can't really have everyone online 9 to 5 your time. The work culture shifts to get it done on your own schedule. For someone working two jobs, that's perfect. Flexible hours and asynchronous communication are basically green lights for overemployment. And if one old school company forces people back to the old office, employees now have options. They can jump ship to a remote first employer. By 2026, I predict an even bigger wave of remote first startups and roles, which means more oxygen to the overemployment fire. So now let's kind of talk about the global wage competition. So this one's pretty big. Companies are increasingly hiring talent worldwide. Great for company budgets, tough for individual workers in high-cost countries. So if your employer can hire a developer in another country for a quarter or half of your salary, that puts pressure on your wages and job security. So how do you respond? One way is overemployment. You can effectively say, fine, I'll just get a second income to stay ahead. So it's a way of workers to kind of reclaim leverage. Instead of being at the mercy of one employer who could replace you kind of cheaply, you can kind of secure two employers. So it's like diversifying against the risk of any one company cutting you loose or even underpaying you. So as global competition kind of heats up in 2026, more professionals will discover that two incomes are better than one. Now let's jump into the new workforce mindset. So the younger workforce, shout out to Gen Z and young millennials, is kind of built differently. These folks grew up in a gig economy era, making YouTube channels, freelancing, driving Uber, multiple income streams is normal to them. So they're less tied to the idea of a single 40-year-old career at one company, which, let's kind of be honest, is already dead. So the concept of overemployment doesn't really sound unethical or disloyal. It sounds like a hustle and common sense. Surveys show that younger workers are more open to side gigs and second jobs. And by 2026, as this becomes a larger part of the workforce, job stacking could be common. It's like having a side hustle is today. So the side hustle thing kind of evolved. It's not just driving Uber at night, but two professional jobs. Crazier still, even some older workers are coming around after getting burned by layoffs. So for us, AI is kind of becoming the norm at our age. For the young kids that are maybe even under 10 years old, once they get like 10 years ahead in the future, it's having ChatGPT for interviews or using it in everyday life is gonna be literally just normal. It's gonna be like breathing air. It's like they won't question it even at all. So now some people ask, isn't this unethical or against the rules? Here's the thing, unless you sign an explicit non-compete or clause of any sort, working two jobs is generally legal. Companies might not like it, but consider their side. They'll do what's best for the business, right? Lay you off if they need to. No hesitation. So you have every right to do what's best for your business, which is you and your family. Overemployment isn't really about cheating or slacking. It's often about being smart and secure and just getting extra money. So I say overemployment isn't unethical. It's the logical response to an unstable economy. It's workers adapting to the reality that loyalty is rarely rewarded with job security anymore. Of course, you still have to perform at each job. You owe your employers quality work for that paid job, but you don't really owe them your entire life or blind loyalty. As long as you can manage it without breaking obligations, why not? By 2026, this mindset will be much more common. So how would you be ready for overemployment, for this overemployment boom? So if you're watching this thinking, this sounds kind of tempting, how do I prepare? So here's the tactical part. Let's get you ready before 2026 hits. First, you want to pick the right roles. Not every job is compatible with overemployment. You want roles that are remote friendly and output oriented. Like I mentioned, jobs in software, IT, data analysis, digital marketing, content creation, project management, anything where you can largely work on your own schedule and deliver results without constant supervision. Avoid roles with endless back-to-back meetings or jobs that are client-facing all day. Those are tough to double up right off the bat. Also, try to align industries or skill sets. For example, two software engineering jobs or a marketing and a copywriting job. If this shares similar skills or tools, you'll have synergy and less context switching brain drain. Using the right tools. Being overemployed is a lot easier with smart tools. Think of your setup like a mini startup. Use Notion or Trello to organize tasks from job A to job B in one place, so you don't have to drop any balls. Use Google Calendar and multiple calendars or tools like Calendly to prevent meeting collisions. Block off time creatively so meetings don't conflict from one job to the other. You want to master Slack or Teams automation. So there are apps that can kind of keep you logged in or send automatic away messages. For example, set your status to in a meeting if you need to focus on other jobs for an hour. You can also leverage AI assistants like ChatGPT that can help draft emails, debug code faster, and essentially act like your behind the scenes helper. So the goal is to basically streamline everything you can. So stealth and strategy. Tactically, don't tell coworkers about your extra job. It's pretty obvious. Build a routine that separates the two jobs. Two laptops, if you can swing it, or at least a separate browser and communication channels for each gig to avoid cross-contamination. Nothing is worse than basically Teams messaging or slacking the wrong boss. When you interview for a second job, keep your plans to yourself. Don't mention you already have another full-time job. And when you get that second offer, you might even negotiate a slightly offset schedule if possible. For instance, one job is 7 to 3, the other is 11 to 7, or something that gives you a bit of wiggle room. So it's like playing Tetris with two schedules. You want to have as few overlapping blocks as possible. So just a few resume and job hunt tips as well. To land a great remote job or two, your resume and LinkedIn should be ATS friendly and tailored. So if you guys are interested in making an ATS friendly tailored resume, you guys could check out the pinned comment below and order the custom resume service that I provide. I'll provide the resume back within 72 hours, and I guarantee you interviews in the first month or your money back. If you guys are not sure about this, you can also book a call with me one-on-one below, and I'll explain the whole process and how this helps and how basically getting interviews equals a chance at getting the job. That's all that matters. Interviews, interviews, interviews. So last but not least, you want to have an exit plan of some sort. So not to be a downer, but plan for the worst case scenario. If one employer finds out or things get too stressful, how will you dial back? Maybe you're okay to drop the job you like less or the one that kind of pays you less. So just always keep that in mind, that it's okay to kind of quit one job if you can't handle it that much anymore. So last but not least, you want to seize the overemployment opportunity in 2026. So overemployment is no longer a total secret. It's still wide open for those who move first. 2026 is a year this trend could explode into the mainstream media. So will you be ahead of the curve or scrambling to catch up? If you want to be ready and stay one step ahead, subscribe to this channel and book a call with me down below one-on-one. I'll answer any questions you may have about overemployment. So I'll continue to show you exactly how to do this the right way and in ways where you basically don't endure any burnout and no bullshit. So I want to help you guys double our incomes, take back control, and make 2026 a year you become uncancelable. So let's make it happen. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.